She walked into the gym wearing an old hoodie, faded leggings, and a shy smile. Nobody gave her a second glance, well, except for a few sneers from people who thought she didn't belong. Some whispered, some smirked. To them, she was just another simple woman, too plain, too soft, too out of place in a room full of loud music, heavy weights, and serious lifters. But what they didn't know was that she wasn't here to prove anything to anyone. She was here for herself. As she quietly warmed up, stretching in the corner near the deadlift platform, a few heads turned. Not out of respect, yet, but out of confusion. Why was she heading toward the heavy barbell? Why was someone who looked so ordinary, so unsure, loading up that much weight? The murmurs started again. She won't even get it off the ground. Maybe she's lost. Even the gym staff gave each other curious looks. Everyone expected her to fail, but she wasn't listening to any of it. Her hands wrapped around the bar, her eyes locked forward. With one deep breath, everything changed. In that moment, the room went quiet, not because they believed in her, but because they didn't expect what was about to happen. This wasn't just about lifting a heavy bar. This was about pushing back against assumptions, about standing tall in a space that had already judged her. What happened next stunned the entire gym. Phones dropped. Jaws hit the floor. The woman they all laughed at just seconds ago was about to turn the entire room into her audience, and not with words, but with pure strength. But before we show you what really happened when she gripped that 140 kilograms bar, let's go back and find out who she really is and what led her to this moment. Her name is Maya. 36 years old, single mom, and until recently, she'd never stepped foot in a gym. Most of her days were spent juggling 2 part-time jobs, school runs, and caring for her elderly mother. She wasn't looking for attention, and she definitely wasn't chasing compliments. But after years of putting everyone else first, Maya finally made a promise to herself. It's time to get strong, not just in body, but in spirit. Her first visit to the gym wasn't easy. She felt like an outsider the second she walked in. The machines looked like they belonged in a sci-fi movie, and she could feel the stares. She tried to ignore them, but it wasn't easy. One trainer even offered to show her the cardio section, as if that's all she was there for. But Maya had already done her research. She wasn't there to jog in place. She was there to lift. She had started small, learning proper form from YouTube videos late at night when the house was finally quiet. No personal coach. No fancy program. Just determination and patience. Day by day, rep by rep, she started getting stronger. Quietly, consistently. Still, nobody in that gym knew her story. They didn't see the nights she cried in silence from exhaustion. They didn't know about the time she had to sell her dining table to pay for a 3-month gym membership. All they saw was a woman who didn't look like she belonged. But Maya didn't need their approval. She just needed one more shot at the bar. And on that day, she came ready. Not to prove anyone wrong, but to prove herself right. But what pushed her to that exact moment? What made her load 140 kilograms on the bar that day? That story is just getting started. That day, something inside Maya shifted. Maybe it was the months of quiet effort finally catching up. Or maybe it was just the simple truth. She was tired of being underestimated. With her feet firmly planted, she gripped the bar. The room wasn't quiet out of respect. It was quiet out of disbelief. But as she pulled with every ounce of strength, her body steady and focused, the 140 kilograms bar slowly lifted off the ground. No shaking, no struggling, just pure control. For a moment, time stopped. The same people who laughed earlier now stood frozen. Even the trainer who once guided her toward the treadmills had nothing to say. And Maya, she didn't shout, didn't look around for applause. She gently lowered the weight back to the floor, stood up straight, and walked away, calm, confident, and without a single word. That lift wasn't just a number, it was a statement. For every woman who's ever been judged too soon, for every beginner who's been made to feel small, And for every person quietly fighting their own battles, Maya became a symbol of quiet strength. She kept showing up to the gym after that, not for praise, but because it had become her space. The whispers faded, replaced by nods of respect. Some even asked for tips. And though she never set out to inspire, Maya's story started spreading, one lift, one video, one heart at a time. The truth is, real strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it shows up in silence, in persistence, and in people who don't fit the mold. Maya didn't come to impress anyone, she came to grow. And in doing so, she reminded us all that it's not how you start, but how you lift yourself up that truly matters. The gym was buzzing louder than usual that day, the air thick with the usual mix of sweat and determination. Maya could feel the eyes on her again, the doubtful, the curious, even the quietly amused. She had been here before, but today felt different. Today, the whispers felt sharper, the stares heavier. She wasn't just the quiet woman in the corner anymore. Today, she was about to step into the spotlight, whether she liked it or not. Her heart pounded as she approached the deadlift platform. The barbell gleamed under the harsh gym lights, loaded with plates that seemed to grow heavier with every step she took. 140 kilograms. It was more than double what she'd lifted just a few months ago. She glanced around, catching the smirks from a group of young lifters who clearly expected her to fail. The familiar sting of doubt mixed with something fiercer, determination. Maya took a deep breath, trying to steady the nerves swirling in her chest. This wasn't just about the weight. It was about proving something, though not to them, but to herself. The months of early mornings, sore muscles, and silent sacrifices all led to this moment. She could hear the subtle murmurs from the crowd, the "she can't do it," the "this will be embarrassing." Her hands reached out, fingers gripping the cold steel bar. Time seemed to slow. She felt the weight settle, the tension in her muscles building, and the noise around her fading into the background. All eyes were fixed on her now, waiting to see if the simple woman they had mocked could rise to the challenge, or if she would crumble under the pressure. The moment of truth was seconds away. Just as Maya started to pull the bar off the ground, a sudden noise broke the tension. A loud clang echoed through the gym. One of the weight plates had slipped slightly out of place. The bar wobbled. For a split second, her grip faltered, and the whole room gasped. The crowd's whispers shifted from doubt to shock. Some started murmuring, "She's going to drop it," while others exchanged worried looks, fearing an accident. Maya's heart raced faster, but something deeper kicked in, a quiet refusal to give up. She steadied the bar, took a breath, and tried again. But just then, one of the gym regulars, a man who had been openly mocking her all along, stepped forward with a smirk and said, "Maybe this isn't your place. Why don't you quit before you hurt yourself?" That jab hit harder than any weight. The room seemed to close in on her, the eyes turning sharper, the atmosphere heavier. It wasn't just about lifting anymore. It was about standing up to the voices that doubted her, the stereotypes that boxed her in, the invisible barriers she'd been pushing against since day one. Maya clenched her jaw, feeling a surge of resolve. She wasn't just fighting for the barbell now. She was fighting for every moment she'd been told she couldn't. She adjusted her stance, dug her heels into the floor, and prepared to lift again. The gym fell into a tense silence. No one dared to breathe as she pulled. The bar trembled under the weight, her muscles burning with effort. This wasn't just a test of strength, it was a battle of wills. Would Maya rise above the doubt and defy the expectations? Or would the pressure finally break her? The answer was just within reach, but the story was far from over. Maya took a deep breath, blocking out every doubt, every sneer, and every whispered judgment. Her hands gripped the bar tighter than ever. With a steady pull, she lifted the barbell off the ground. The plates clanged softly as the weight shifted, but Maya's focus never wavered. Slowly, she straightened her back, the heavy load balanced perfectly as her muscles screamed with effort. The gym fell completely silent. Even the man who had mocked her a moment ago stopped mid-smirk, eyes wide with disbelief. Everyone was holding their breath, watching as Maya stood tall, holding a 140 kilograms barbell like it was nothing extraordinary. Then, as she began to lower the weight carefully back to the floor, a quiet cheer broke out, soft at first, then growing louder. People who had doubted her were now clapping, some even coming forward to offer words of respect. It wasn't just a lift, it was a moment of breakthrough. But just when it seemed like Maya had won the day, the unexpected happened. A young woman from the crowd stepped forward, her eyes shining with excitement. She wasn't a trainer or a seasoned lifter, just someone who had been quietly watching Maya's journey from the sidelines. "I've been coming here for years," she said, "and no one has ever inspired me like you just did. But I also want to tell you something. You're not alone." Then, to everyone's surprise, a group of women and men started sharing their own stories of struggle and strength, people who had been overlooked or underestimated just like Maya. That day, the gym wasn't just a place for lifting weights. It became a space where strength was redefined, not by how much you lift, but by how you rise against every obstacle. And Maya, she realized her fight was just beginning, but now she wasn't fighting alone. After that powerful moment, the gym felt different. The energy had shifted, no longer filled with judgment or doubt, but with encouragement and respect. Maya's lift had done more than prove her strength. It had opened a door for others who had quietly battled their own fears and insecurities. Maya smiled softly, realizing that the journey she had started alone was now shared with a community. People approached her, not with skepticism, but with curiosity and support. Some asked for advice, others shared their own struggles. For the first time, Maya felt truly seen, not just for her strength, but for her courage to show up and keep going despite everything. She knew the road ahead wouldn't always be easy. There would still be days of doubt, of hard work, and moments when the weight felt too heavy, not just the barbell, but life itself. But she also knew something else. Strength isn't just about muscles or numbers. It's about resilience, heart, and the choice to keep lifting yourself up no matter what. Maya's story became a quiet inspiration, not just at the gym but beyond it. It reminded everyone watching that real strength comes in many forms, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to be defined by others' expectations. So if you ever feel out of place or underestimated, remember Maya's journey. Strength isn't about where you start, it's about how you rise. And sometimes, all it takes is one lift to change everything. Thanks for watching. If Maya's story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that celebrate strength in all its forms. Keep lifting, keep believing, and remember, you're stronger than you think.